welcome to the review show. My name is Austin, and welcome back to our Indiana Jones series. Today we're going to be talking about Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom. This is actually an underrated film for me. I actually really do like this film, and I think people over time have started warming up to Temple of Doom. This was a movie that instantly changed cinema, how the rating of how films are rated now to this day, and it changed Steven Spielberg over time as well. Even he doesn't like it because of how much how much hate got put onto it. And so this was kind of the film where we just Steven Spielberg kind of just didn't, it wasn't the same as Steven was before. I always love the opening to the Indiana Jones films because the openings to the Indiana Jones films always set the tone for what the movie's going to be. And here we get another great opening where we meet Indiana Jones, and this is a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, so this takes a year before that film ever happens. And where he is just this scoundrel, where he is just gonna do whatever it takes. When things start happening, Indiana Jones is barely making it out of the bare of his teeth. And where we meet Short Round, who is played by who definitely said that name wrong. I don't know how to say his name at all. And so, who won supporting best actor of this year of 2022. So that was cool. And Harrison Ford and them reunited at the Oscars. So that was cool. And this is it's a cool moment to talk about this film, is that Short Round is great in this film. A lot of people don't like the kid or Willie. I can understand Willie. Willie gets on my nerves at some points in the film, where her whining kind of gets annoying, and it kind of just is out of place in this film. But Short Round is a badass in this movie, and he's great, a kid. So a kid usually means damsel in distress, always have to be saved. Short Round saves Indiana Jones' ass throughout the film a lot. So give him a little credit. It's mostly Willie that needs to be saving, and it's because that's basically her character to be there, is for to be mostly the comic relief and to be saved, and Indiana Jones to fall in love with, when he doesn't really need a love interest, when we know where he's gonna be in a year. And next Crystal Skull would ruin that, and just for them to get back together. Yeah. So after that great opening action sequence, we have Indiana Jones in a plane, and this is basically the fridge moment in Temple of Doom. This is the fridge. This is each Indiana Jones film has the moment of okay, I don't know about that, and this one is kind of pushing towards to the fridge moment, and but you kind of can let something like that slide because you're already having a great time with the film. So basically, Indiana Jones and Willie and Short Round have to jump out of this plane because the pilots abandoned the plane, and they were part of the mafia. And so they're part with the bad guys, so they had to jump out. And as soon as they jump out, they have to inflate this raft, slam into a mountain. First of all, they have been bird shit onto that mountain, and also ride down this mountain, going to a freaking water raft, and just barely making it out alive in that. It's great stuff. I mean, it's fun, and it knows what it is. It knows that this is kind of pushing it, but it's the opening is that much fun, and that sets the tone as it is that you can let certain things slide. And so I enjoy this open. This film also has a lot of great moments. Now, story-wise, it's kind of a little bit iffy. Indiana Jones runs into this tribe, and this crystal thing has been stolen from them, and they need Indiana Jones to go back. They need Indiana Jones to go retrieve it for them and bring it back to them. And it takes a while for us to even be introduced to the villain in this film. It's mostly until like the half of the almost the second act ish, maybe a little bit before that, where we actually see what's going on. So basically, Indiana Jones goes off onto this adventure. He doesn't really care for it, but and it's not really the intention of like, oh, I need to save this tribe. He's just thinking it for the money or for the fame of it, basically, and just like, and until later on to the film, realizing what this thing can do, which isn't really that much, and it's this crystal thing. It's definitely like made up. A way to get Indiana Jones to point A to point B, and to show off what this film is basically about. And so, but he goes through a nice character arc, thinking of basically fame and money, realizing, oh no, this thing is important to them, and they actually need this to thrive and live on, and it's because it's part of their culture. And he grows this kind heart that he has, but it's covered in like this dirt of like trying to be famous for something in some way, which leads to a couple of great scenes, to be honest. Like there's like a scene where Willie's like just like yelling at Indiana Jones, and like this because at some like throughout the film, like the elephant is messing with with Willie, and she's kind of like and where she's basically had enough, but Indiana Jones is like, I don't know about that. Just hold on, but she doesn't realize that it's a snake, and so Indiana Jones is like, and she just like grabs it and throws it, and it kind of freaks out Indiana Jones. And so it's a great scene and all that. And so like for Willie works in that part of the scene, but when she finds a bat, then I'm like, okay, you're pushing it. And this is where I think the film has like creative writing, and where it really works, where Indiana Jones and Willie have this fight, and they just go off and they go separate into their own rooms, and they're basically just waiting for like who's gonna break, like because we need them to fall in love and all that. And it's like, I don't buy their love that much, but this scene is great, and that just alone, and just basically like just seeing who would like break first, and next but then they even throw into a fight scene into this moment to add like tension, but also make it funny, and to add comedy into it, because Indiana Jones basically bolts into Willie's room after having this big old fight by hanging this dude from I believe a ceiling fan. Okay, like what the. And so, but when he busts through the room, she's basically thinking like, basically thinking that they're gonna have sex, and because he's all sweaty and like he's all like his shirt's all messed up, and it's like you couldn't stand he couldn't stand without her or something on those lines, but he's like, no, we need to go, and she's very confused and like, what? And so, and which leads to another great scene where basically Indiana Jones and Short Round are almost gonna die. I love this scene. It's so great when because like in the first film they use snakes, and here they're using bugs, and it's like fucking gross, and there's spikes coming down. Basically Indiana Jones and Short Round are about to die and be impaled and crushed by these spikes, and Willie has to put her hand into this hole to pull a lever, but it's all filled with bugs, and it's the chemistry there works, and the comic relief works. Like,
2 dead people down here!
There are gonna be 2 dead people in here! Hurry!
We are going to die!
It's great stuff. Like I really like that. It's just so good. The writing for this film is great. This is where the film's tone just gets even more darker, where we first see Moa Rim just like just shoves his hand to some guy's chest and rips out his heart, and is like, and it's really great, well done, and it's just, and next like he gets set into this basically pit, and just his freaking heart catches on fire. This is where like everyone in the movie is like, oh, this is quite maybe a little bit too dark for kids. I can see where it's somewhat darker, but again, Raiders of the Lost Ark freaking had people's face melt off and their heads explode. You tell me that's fine? I don't know. Great scene. I just love that come on type of part. And basically at some point in the film where you realize that this is just where the film just takes a hold, and you can kind of sort of feel that like where this movie starts slowing down, and it's like kind of starts sort of dragging out. Like there's moments throughout this film where I'm sort of bored, but the film has good enough writing where I'm not like I'm just like bored out of my mind. But it's just that it's starting to get to the point where you can feel the runtime though. But besides that, and that's kind of like only my complaints that I have about this film is that besides a couple moments where you can feel some of the runtime and Willie being annoying as fuck and just constantly screaming and whining, and besides those like two negative points, I really like this film. And just seeing and it's like Indiana Jones like being tortured and all of that, like making it and like having a voodoo doll made for him where it's like, and just being like and I don't know, like I have no words for it because it's really good. And it's like in this voodoo doll, I feel like you like bend his arm the wrong way, he can feel it and like and causes pain to him. But this is basically like he is basically mind washed and he turns into a fucking zombie. Evil Indiana Jones. And he basically whips a fucking kid as well. I think he whips Short Round. And so it's very well done. And it's just like it's really good. And so but at some point where he realizes that Short Round realizes that fire undoes everything. It's very convenient in that way. And so but yeah, and it sets up this great action sequences like where they have to get out of here, and it's they help the kids, and Indiana Jones gets a guy crushed. That's really fucking gross. It's just, one way to amp up the stakes in this film is having Indiana Jones and this random cult fight on rails and like the coal rail things, which was very well done. It was something in that film that wasn't really filmed and something wasn't really done back in, and so it was a cool idea and it was shot very well. I really liked that. And like this final act, like this just like nonstop action I love it. It's so good. Like the story isn't really here for this film like it was with Raiders of the Lost Ark. It doesn't really necessarily have the heart for it, but it's written very well enough where it's not like you see the writing. It's not, you don't see the thin writing like in most films like now these days. And so, and again, the film is still really funny. It basically calls back to Han Solo and on the Death Star in A New Hope, which is another Harrison Ford character that he plays, where he's running and it's like, oh shit, and he turns back and there's a bunch of stormtroopers are chasing him. It's like the same thing here, where Indy runs up to the camera and he's like, huh, huh, and he just runs the opposite direction because and then a bunch of cult members just start chasing him. The film is very funny, even though it's trying to be a little bit more serious and dark. It knows when the comedy works, and so it's great writing right there. And the freaking cliff scene with the freaking bridge, fucking hell! It's just Indiana Jones being fucking punched in the rib. This man is fucking. He is just barely making things work, and he's barely getting out of the situations, and just like you can see from Harrison Ford's performance that he is just getting beaten to the ground with this, and just that you see that there's pain in this. You can, when you watch this film, you buy every second of it, and so it's very well done on that. And just fucking Ram, just, I don't know how to say his first name, it's like Mola Ram, I believe, and he falls off the freaking bridge, falls into a fucking pond of fucking alligators. Fucking hell, that's one way to fucking go. That is terrifying. And they even show it. It's like just, you don't see body parts, but you do see his like clothes and getting torn up. It's really well done. It's one of the best like finales in a movie, to be honest. There's a lot of tension to it, and it's very well done. The movie basically just ends like, oh, happy ever after. Lily and Indy are together. Probably not for that long, maybe. I'll give them like 2 weeks. And they kiss. A short round's like, oh, it's cute. Well done on that part. And yeah, that's Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. I really like this film. It's very well done, and I believe that if you guys haven't watched it in a while, give it another watch. I'm gonna give Indiana Jones Temple of Doom an A-. Really enjoying these reviews. Hope you guys enjoy it, because you guys enjoyed Raiders Lost Ark's review, so that was interesting. That review did a lot better than I expected it to do, so thank you guys so much for the support on that one, and on general that for recently the channel has been doing really well, so that is awesome. And even more excited for Indiana Jones and the Lost Crusade. Next month we'll be talking about that. That's gonna be a lot of fun, and talking about and I believe that one's like my favorite Indiana Jones film overall, and especially in the trilogy before the trilogy wasn't a trilogy anymore, and it's a quadrilogy, and now it's a 5th trilogy. It's a franchise now, basically. But yeah, can't wait to talk about that. One's going to be an interesting one to talk about. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and like always, I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.